Hey, maybe myself. So what I think we're gonna do today, and we are just on Twitch because managing both platforms with low, low viewership doesn't make much sense. So I think I'm gonna go back to my pattern of streaming on Twitch and then just uploading it up over on YouTube. The funny thing about that is like I do a trick to make my shorts where you upload it, you can use your phone to do a remix. So it's the easiest way I know of making shorts. And my God, does YouTube, algorithmically, if you want to get views, it's by far the easiest way. I'm sure back when I did YouTube when I was much younger, man, if I would have done shorts, I'm sure I would have done the same thing. Because my God, does Google really push those. And granted, they put them in people's feeds. Discoverability is easier too. So anyways, what I think we're going to do today, because I don't think I've done this quite yet, we're going to go over building a practice routine. Somewhat open-ended. We'll see where it goes. And then once I'm all talked out and hopefully have built something, really going over on like what I want to work on, maybe we'll do a live practice session of a few. And, I usually do my practice session in half-hour blocks. So maybe, depending on how much I actually want to practice, do a few of those blocks, probably two, depending on, how much steam I have left. And how much we talk about the brainstorming or that part of the process. So let's get going. I'm going to come over here. I have a Google Doc open, and this is going to be like my whiteboard. So I have this. So let's think about what we want to work on. So let's do that as a section. So things I want to improve. And some of the stuff I've talked about before. And let's bring our default down just a tiny bit. And let's bring this over to the left. So, and again, I think my general goal of a practice routine is you're finding things that you want to be able to do better, right? And those can be very simple things. I want to play this type of this piece of music. The thing that everybody wants to do. I want to be able to play these songs. Very similar to what I'm doing. I have 5 songs I want to work on, and let's include that. Play standards fluently. Right? That's obviously something I've been working on, kind of the whole point of the project itself. But it can be pretty general like that. And in fact, if anything, for music, that is the goal. You want to be able to play songs. But there are other sub goals, other things that you'd like to be able to do better. An example of that is something that I talked about maybe in the last session. But stuff like I want to be able to play solo guitar, maybe I'll rephrase this and say I want to improve on my ability to construct chord melodies and solo guitar arrangements. Let's call it solo guitar. Ooh, in fact, one second. I am going to have to bring this down. And solo guitar improvisations. Because I can, I feel pretty confident in my technique. Right? That if you gave me some piece of music, I eventually could learn it. But what's much harder is improvising, right? Like, as I've been working on, I know the melody of let's just do Autumn Leaves, right? So, but how do I put chords under that? Especially for solo guitar, that's a very important thing to be able to do. So, that's another one. Let's see, what other things do I generally want to improve? Maybe have better fretboard knowledge, and that's of course for guitar. That's going to be that's man. Maybe I wish I could scroll up. Give me some space so I can scroll. Okay. Um, somewhat specific to guitar, but it's of course very important. Let me give what I feel I lack. So, I don't know if I've said this before, but I used to play trumpet. If you tell me an A, that's automatic to me, right? I know for me, I can tell you every octave. So, for example, on trumpet, it's the first and second valve is A. On trumpet, of course, it's in B flat. There's a whole discussion about concert pitch. Technically, I believe that's a G concert pitch. But for me, I know the lower octave. It's so ingrained in my memory of what it sounds like in each octaves. Like with a brass player, your embouchure, like the sheet music. It's very easy for me to see all of that. Say A on guitar. I mean, I know one place very well, right? I know that on the sixth string, this is A. And you can do the octave tricks I was saying before. Obviously, this has to be A, and this has to be A, because these are two octaves apart. But if you give me a piece of sheet music, I don't have the association. So that's what I'm talking about here. That's what I want to build up. I think it's super important for an instrument to have that type of connection. And it's definitely something I feel that I want to work on more. And it'll generally help your playing, right? Because if you can just see music and say, oh, that's here, and I feel like in the past few months, I've come quite a long way, right? Especially seeing sheet music and knowing where on the fretboard it generally should be. But this is a longer project. Let's move on and talk about what resources I have. And this might be where I don't currently have a piano teacher, or sorry, not piano, a guitar teacher. But lessons are a resource. I have a number of books. And here, my quick aside is, like many things, not just with guitar, but with chess or anything where it's like very improvement driven. It's very easy to get caught in the trap of thinking you need to have every book. In fact, I can show you all the books I have over the years. But here's where to get strategic and really use what you have. And I'll even say, I don't even think you necessarily need books. The most important thing, I would say, for music in general, is to make sure that you have some type of music you're working on and resources that allow you to do that. So, for example, I think a good investment is, buying the real book. If you're going to buy one book, just because it has all the standards, in the usual way that it's being played. But, in addition to that, I will give my bigger consideration of even the real book is you also have to listen to the music. And maybe this is where, music as a resource, it's kind of implied, but you really should be, if you want to do music, be listening to a ton of music. I mean, not the most surprising idea of all time, but especially for jazz, and that's kind of what makes jazz so much harder than other forms of music, that it's so nuanced in the way that it's presented. So you really got to listen to the music to internalize it. But the resources, and maybe not, let's call it resources. Let's call it, now, I don't want to say what do I have. What resources do I want to work with? So, as I just said, I clearly use the real book. We're using MuseScore. And of course, the follow-up question is going to be, how are we going to involve them in the practice routine? And as you've seen for both of these, we've used them. Do I have it with me? Let me go grab it. I'll get it back. I have these as well. I've showed this on stream. Patterns for jazz and these transcriptions for Joe Pass. I like involving them, so we'll include them both. Let's call one the Joe Pass transcriptions, and the other patterns for jazz. And we'll scroll down. I mean, I think these are really the materials I'm working with to develop a practice routine. But generally my approach is not really using a ton of sheet music. Again, I'm mostly using this transcription book because I don't want to spend a lot of time transcribing something that's very dense and complex. Even though I think in general transcription is very good for internalizing your ear, making your ear better. And patterns for jazz is just, building up my repertoire of licks. It's not really meant to be a big educational piece. So let's move this one thing further and just start actually getting into let's not put it in front of the question. Some things I should be working on. And let's move this down. And maybe I could, maybe even before this, let's start with what we are working on. What does our routine look like now? Well, generally, I spend maybe, let's talk about maybe warm-up. My warm-up, scroll down again. It's maybe 5 to 10 minutes. Let's remove the underline. And what am I doing in that? Usually I do this thing here, which I've heard called like the spider walk or something. I mean, it's just a classic thing for guitar. And if you don't know this, it's something good to pick up. So choose some place on the guitar, usually, maybe on the 5th fret's a good idea, and just chromatically walk up 3 frets, and then go up the next one. And some people, depending on how much you're doing this for, like if you're building, finger strength, usually they say hold down the fingers as you move up. You don't necessarily have to do that if you're just doing this for a warm-up, but it's just these type of patterns. So it's all just this chromatic stuff. And you can, of course, liven this up by playing all the patterns, and I was doing that finger style. But, you can, of course, include your pick and do alternate picking. So let's do 1, 3, 2, 4. I'm going to bring my volume a little bit. And again, depending on, it's just to get your hands working. And I've done this for the longest time. So I usually do that as a warm-up. Maybe I'll play a scale as well. So let's include both of those. The spider walk stuff, and then maybe play some scales. From there, it's usually focused on the music I'm working on. So play what I've worked on with the standard, and then usually we improvise over it. And that's been the general routine, as you've seen in the past few times. And I would say, this maybe takes about, I would say like 20 minutes, and this is the rest of the time, right? Let's not just say improvise, work on the standard / improvise over it, and that's usually the rest of the time. So again, I think generally, as I've said reiterated multiple times. I think the most important thing is to work on songs, right? Like all your practice, I think, especially for jazz, should be, and I think Jens Larson gives this advice. I think Barry Harris gives this advice too. I mean, this is just a thing that everybody knows, but should be reiterated. That, you know, if you're practicing scales, you should be applying those scales in your improvisation, right? You shouldn't just be mindlessly going up and down scales. You should, you know, work on it in all the different ways you know, right? So let's just do an aside. Like, what are things? What can we do with scales? Right? Because I mean, this is an important part. Because even as I say, warm up on scales or work on scales, it usually isn't just playing it up and down, right? On guitar, that's. I mean, if generally, let me go over the process of learning scales in the most basic form. On guitar, well, for most instruments, you learn it all the keys. And on guitar, you don't usually need to learn all the keys because, as I've said, you know, moving keys is somewhat easy as long as you know the patterns. So usually you learn the patterns instead of all 12 keys, right? And what do I mean by patterns? So on guitar, you have your usual building blocks. So generally you think about which finger you're starting on and which string you're starting on, and you get a number of enumerations on that, right? So for example, starting on the 6th string and just going up 1 octave, you know, you get this box pattern. And I think everybody knows that. But you can instead of starting on the index finger, you can convert it to using the 2nd finger. And then 3rd finger. Cheating. On guitar, the difference between the 2nd and 3rd finger really isn't that much of a difference. I think the most important to know, of course, is index finger and pinky finger. Because a lot of times you just start that way. And then, you know, 2nd finger is kind of a mishmash between the two anyways. So you get position, right, depending on your hand position, and then string. And usually it isn't that much different. It's usually the same structure. So as I was saying, you got this 3. If I can play the major scale. But you move it up. You can move it up a string. And between the 6th and the 5th, it's actually the same. Just moved up a 4th. You can do the same thing again. The only part where it actually gets tricky is once you start getting, again, back to what seems like a central theme, is when you get between the 2nd and 3rd string, you have to move everything up a fret because it's only tuned in a 3rd. So moving it up to the 4th string, you get a pattern that looks like this. And notice up here that originally on these lower strings it was here. You have to move it to the right. And then finally, you get the last pattern here, where you get this structure. So you get everything kind of moved up a fret. And again, back to a central idea that really you can move patterns up strings as long as you know of how to deal with the 2 strings tuned in 3rds. So there it gives you all the ways to learn a scale on guitar. So what was it? I call it maybe 3 different ways in terms of finger position, because 2nd and 3rd finger, again, there's some difference in stretches, but usually you just pick one, and then that's the way you move your hand. At least that's my experience. You know, maybe someone who knows more could give better feedback, because I think in the Berkeley book they actually do all 4, right? Depending on how you do your hand stretch. But I don't know that you necessarily need to learn both. Again, as I said, I think index and pinky are the most important to use, because those are the most natural, and they give you a way to start by moving back on the neck and a way to move down the neck. So 3-ish different hand positions for each scale in a given position, and depending on if it takes 3 or 2 strings, you're going to get about maybe 4 different variations, 4 or 5, right? Let me make sure that that's correct. So 3 strings, you got 6-5-4, 5-4-3, 4-3-2, and 3-2-1, so that's 4. And then 2 strings is 6-5. Well, shouldn't that be 5? 6-5, 5-4, 4-3, 3-2, 2-1. Yeah, 5 different variations. So you got about 20 different ways to play the scale, right, in all the different positions. And that's learning scales, right? So let's list that first. Play them in all the positions starting on different strings, right? And in this way, I didn't do it. But a good thing to do is pick a key, play the scale, and actually move. When you move the strings, for example, right, I wasn't doing this, but if we wanted to start on, let's call it E, we then also have to do the same thing here, where I believe E is, wait, A, G, F, E. Yeah, it's definitely here because it's 5 hertz back. So this should be the exact same thing. And indeed it is. Right, so as you move up the strings, keep following that pattern. And sometimes you're going to have to find, move up or down the neck to match the same scale. That way you stay in the same key. But to be honest, it doesn't necessarily matter. What's important is just to learn the shapes, and you should already know how to do exactly what I'm talking about playing the correct note in the correct key. If you don't, all you're doing is just, transposing it up a fourth each time, or a third if you're moving between that. That's the effect of moving up a string. So what are other popular things we can do with scales? Well, going back to what Barry Harris really talked about in terms of practicing scales, usually it would be play them in thirds, right? Back to our handy guitar. I mean, I think everybody who does music, this is a thing that everybody practices. Thirds show up all the time in music. They help generate the chords. But, if we wanted to play E major in thirds, you get something like this. Okay. And you can generalize this further and say thirds or any 2-note sequence. So this could include fifths, right? The scale, hypothetically, is playing them in seconds. But thirds, you kind of get this combination of moving up the scale combined with some interval. And that's kind of the next step, right, is playing them in thirds. The next thing we can think about is going up the next level of the ladder. We've moved up in thirds. Well, what about if we play the triads? Right, so back to our major scale, you get stuff like this, where you're getting all the diatonic chords. But just even going back from what I was saying before, you can also do it in reverse, and you get something that sounds like this. And continue them. So that Barry Harris calls them. I believe he calls them triads, and then I think, again, I'd have to go watch back. I mean, we're talking like second hand of other people talking about Barry Harris. Usually he calls playing all 4 notes, which is much more important, called, play the chords. So that's just the actual diatonic chords. And that's very similar to the stuff that I was talking about yesterday, where, you know, you go. And continue that up for as far as you know. And especially if you know the two octave version. Again, I'm like most things, slight performance anxiety of, I'm sure I know this pattern, right? Yeah. You just keep following that up, right? So. And etc. Right? Once you know that, you know your two octave pattern, whichever position you're in, and I mean that's what really nails them in. Why people recommend practicing this. In general, the other thing related to all these things is you can also, and let's generalize this too, and say, add id leading tones before all these things. So what do I mean by that? Usually, you'll hear this said as play a half step under. And let's do it with thirds, just because they're easy. So, literally, before you play the third, play a half note under. I mean, it's no more complicated than that, but you get stuff that's... etc., etc. Now, why? Why would you practice this, especially for jazz? Well, if you want to start on an and, this is a nice trick. Because, you know, and if you even hear some of the stuff and you count it out, and one, and one, and one, and, or and 3, 4, well, and 3, and 3, and 3, right? I mean, it's a nice building block, and it's something really easy to get you started on the and then you have all of your usual on the beat tricks. Now, I said add in leading tones. What could I mean by that? Well, in generalizing this, you could start a half step above. It doesn't sound as natural, but it's a good way to practice it. You know, you're really gonna know where the scale tones are, right? So, again, back to what I was doing in the thirds example. Again, I don't think it's pretty. Under is just such a. I don't know. It's almost like sliding into the note. I think it just acclimates better to the ears. You can also generalize this further and say instead of starting a half note or a half step above or below, what if we take the scale tone a step above? So you get something that sounds like this. And that one's really easy because, you know, you're always going to be on the next scale tone. So maybe you think about the other way of starting a scale tone under each time, right? Again, that's thirds. You can do it with all these different things, right? As I said, you can just expand it in your playing. As I said, oh, you know, try it. Right, etc., etc., etc. So it could be any of this. You know, get really creative. Start a third under, maybe harder in this position, but this is the third under. This should be the third under. And it turns out you're going to get something somewhat similar to playing the chords. But you can get really creative. And again, I think a general principle, right, even for practicing, is it should be flexible enough that as you get better, you should be able to add more to it. And I think that's my general philosophy in creating a practice routine, right? I don't think we should just, like, what's the point of saying, oh, we're working on this? I want to be more specific of what actually we're working on, and have something, deep enough that we're able to always expand it. So all these are, general stuff, but we can even take what can we do with scales further. For things that are built on chords or on scales, for example, take stuff built on chord or on the scale and do these scaly things with them. And this is what I was talking about yesterday, right? Let's give a sub-bullet here, right? So if, let's call it, we're playing diatonic, we can do thirds or the chord, etc., right? Like we can repeat all this stuff we're learning and do it, right? Before yesterday I was doing exactly that, where we were talking about D minor. In D minor, the scale of chords is but instead of just doing scales up or down, we can go thirds. The octave there. But you can do all this stuff, right? Especially for stuff built on scales. And, you can even get more creative with stuff like this. In general, again, this stuff goes very deep if you really, really do it. But you can find a lot of stuff that has this type of pattern. For example, I think Labyrinth of Limitations has a video. Barry Harris has a rhythm exercise, for example, where it goes something like this, where you take a note off of a pattern. So usually they, but usually they're working with the dominant sound, so you get, if you know Barry Harris type rule stuff, usually you want to put a half step in between, and usually for that the 6 is used, so you get a pattern that sounds like this. Oops. And then, this is the rhythm exercise where you're taking off 1. So again, I'm not doing it to a metronome, but to give the sound, right? So we started with, you take a note off, you get something that sounds like this. Oops. And then you keep doing that pattern, you get, and man, it would help if I could do a metronome to, oops. Just repeat that. But you can think of that instead, scalar. So 1 was the full pattern, 2 is taking a note off. So you get, because I believe you should have 8 different variations, and you can do thirds, right? So if you have something kind of built on scales, you can turn them into all types of different variations. And in fact, I think the most extreme example of this, just as a organizational principle, is it turns out for counterpoint, especially on guitar, you'll find shapes. And again, I don't necessarily want to go into just giving ideas of things you could do, and things that have been done. I think is a better way to describe it. You can view different. Let's again just be general. I mean, this is something pretty deep. Again, it's very kind of very similar to like the notes to dyads to triads to chords. It turns out there are voicings that are natural above that you can kind of turn into a scale, and doing that gives you all different types of like voice leading and movement. Again, organizing stuff around like scales is so easy to practice because we have so much stuff already to do it. So again, adding this to the toolbox. So let's move on to things I think I should be working on, and then we'll maybe move into laying out the practice schedule. And it's going to be shocker or no shocker here. It's going to be very similar to how I'm organizing these to begin with. But the first thing I want to say is diving deep into a specific key. So what do I mean by that? So be able to play the implied scale in lots of different positions. Scroll down a little bit. Different positions / start on different notes / play lines, etc. Right? And this is just single note stuff. 2, be able to make the diatonic chords. That was the stuff we've been working on for the past few sessions. And finally, I think the final point of this for any given key is like make full improvisations with chord melody in the given key. So what do I mean by that? So kind of like modal jazz, you say D minor, you should be playing, and you should, there are natural chords, diatonic chords, that create tension. Most of the time it's going to be formed on the 5th. So in D minor, A7, for example, creates a lot of tension. The C sharp in particular of A7 creates a lot of tension. But we're just playing the notes, like with any music, you want tension and release. Being able to like really create, spontaneously, almost like what I was talking about before with like Baroque improvisation, of just being able to really work in and use the entire, thing of the guitar. So in that vein, I would say make full solo guitar improvisations on our given standards. And in fact, let's be less, I didn't want to do bold, I just wanted to remove the underline. Let's be less aggressive on that, because this is already starting there. I don't think for what I'm doing I really want to get to the Joe Pass point. I just want to be able to play the melody and being able to improvise in some way that sounds decent, that I could record for mostly me and my family. So let's say play standards in a way that would be compatible with playing them in a, let's call it, gig / club setting. And what do I mean by this? If somebody called the tune, right, I should be able to play it, and I should know the chords generally, and I should be able to, pretty freely, not necessarily freely, but good enough, be able to improvise. And again, I feel like we're kind of back to the two big goals. Again, this was always the goal right here, and then maybe being more specific, because this is the stuff I want to work on, in particular chord melody. So again, I feel like my practice routine is going to be pretty simple then. But what I've been doing, and just kind of laying it out of how I've been approaching it thus far, is usually we spend maybe, let's talk about, again, warm up again. Again, simple chromatic and scalar exercises. And this is mostly just to get your hands acclimated. And I'll say, we'll do this all in, well, no. It really depends. And maybe what I should do is say, because usually I have, probably, depending on how busy I have, usually I either have, on a given day, maybe about a half an hour to practice, an hour to practice, and let's call it 2 hours plus. So let's just give the times for each of those. So my warm-up, I think if I only have 30 minutes, should be like 2 minutes. If I have an hour, maybe it'll be 5 minutes. And if I have the full 2 hours, I will actually, maybe practice for 10. So let's do key / chordal. Let's call it let's call it improvising full chordal improvisation in a key. And I really want to divide this, maybe, if we're dividing the two sections and like working on standards, I want like 60 to 75% on the actual working on standards and 25% on this stuff. So let's just think about that real quick. Let's actually maybe make it bigger. Let's say of the time I'm spending, maybe let's just make it simple and say 10 minutes. If I have an hour, I want to spend maybe about 15 minutes on it. And then if I have 2 hours, I should be spending probably a full block on it. So 30 minutes. And elaborating what I mean on this. So subsection A, making, practicing all the scale forms, and again, I'm not giving a timeout breakout here, but let's actually give the breakout for these subsections. So practicing the scale forms, if I have 10 minutes, probably want to spend about 2 minutes on that. 15 minutes, probably about 5, and 30 minutes we'll spend, again, about this, maybe 10. This is going to lead up to section C, which is going to be improvising for a little bit, because that's what I want to work on, and it'll be the rest of the time in this case. So we'll come back to that and just assign the rest of the time. Let's call it practicing choral movement, or chordal, not choral, chordal movement, triad pairs, all the other stuff in general. I'll just put it in here. And if we have 10 minutes, probably I'll spend, this should really be the bulk of it. Oh, can't see. 15. spend that long on actually practicing the skill forms. I think I'm going to revise this and bring this down a little bit, because there isn't too much work to do on it. So this will give me some more time. So I think 5 is better here. I got 15 minutes, so probably spend maybe about 8 minutes, and then I got 30 minutes, and I really don't want to practice for more than maybe 5 minutes. So if I have that much time and have a full section, I'll probably do around, let's call it 20 full minutes if I have that much time. Okay, and then we just got to do the math before improvising, so it should be what, 3, 4, or 5. Nice, that all works out. Alrighty, and then the last section, we know we can divide out. Let's just call it working on standards, and then we just have to do the math here. So we have 30 minutes, so this should be 18. We have an hour, so we have 40 minutes. So we'll have to divide out. And something I haven't mentioned, and I'll do that in the next section, would be like, what's my general structure for, you know, how do I block the time? So generally what I do for that is I do sections of a half an hour, and that just, there's a whole reasoning for that, but that's usually about, you know, real concentration and focus. Usually you can get around a half an hour in before, you know. So if I got 2 hours, it should be 80 minutes, right? An hour 20 plus 40, yeah, it's 2 hours. 80 plus, you know, let's just include this. If we go longer, of course, you know, we can always add more time to these. And the nice thing is, because we have all this, we can think about it as percentages. So hypothetically, I could, in my Excel sheet, again, I don't necessarily want it to be like down to the minute. This is just giving structure on the stuff we're working on. And as you can see, this is very similar. Oh, I've been spelling exercises wrong. As you can see, I feel like this is very similar to what it's been like on stream, where this is kind of the new section, and then the standards are the bulk of the time. Oh, if I can actually put it on screen, the standards are the bulk of the time. And let's break out what we think about working on standards. Let's just break it out into melody, chords, improvisation. All right, that's how we've blocked it out before. And generally, I want to put most of the time into improvisation, because of course in jazz that's the biggest thing. Melody should be almost no time, and then improvisation will block it out into 2 different sections. Let's call this line building / you know, let's just call it line building, because that's what I've called it before. Line building, let's call it line workshopping, and then probably improv, you know, solo practice. And this line workshopping is going to be most of the actual practice. And then, depending on how we feel, right? If I don't feel my lines are very good, or, you know, if I'm very out of sync with the chords, we can always go back and add more time, depending on the standard. So we got 18 minutes. I would say probably about 5-ish minutes. That's mostly playing it once or twice through with melody. And 40 minutes. This is all probably going to be about 5. Because again, once you know the melody, you know, and again, you block more of the melody if you don't actually know the melody. But the good news is, at least for the 2 standards I'm currently working on, I know the melody. Or at least, you know, close enough that it doesn't matter. Chords, it's going to be very similar. Where maybe we spend, you know, again, I feel like it shouldn't be more than 5 minutes for all of these, because again, it feels like you flex more time, but generally once I know I have the melody and the chords, it's going to be all improvisation. And line workshopping, I would say we're probably going to spend, you know, the lion's share of this, but I got to at least give enough time to do a few solos around. So generally what we'll find is I want to spend at least 5 minutes each time just getting a round of improvisation in, so we have a minimum here. So it turns out if we don't have much time, we won't actually be workshopping lines very much. I mean, a very, very simple conclusion. But as I think here, that maybe we only add additional rounds as we have more time. So we're able to do maybe 2 more times if we only have an hour. And, you know, again, this is back to the plus that we can always add to the third section if we have more time. So we're back to our math problem here. We got 20, so we should have 20 for here. And then we have 25, and we got 80 minutes, so that should be 55, right? So to generalize this more, you know, about 60+% of our time is going to be working on the standards. About it turns out that it's closer to a third, but it could be slightly less. A third in declining. Like the chordal improvisation stuff I've been working on, the warm up is usually the rest. You know, maybe 5-ish% of the time. So what? Let me come down here. What do we mean by practicing? Actually, let's call it my practice zone tips, because I wanted to talk about at least my philosophy with practicing. So first one, as I said, we were going to talk a little bit about is divide time into 30-minute or something similar chunks. That way, you know, you can do all the stuff that I'm doing on the breaks, you know, go do something else. Sometimes I'll like watch a short YouTube video or something just to refresh myself. And that way you're getting the most out of your time, that you're never, because if you just sit around playing for 2 hours and you don't do this type of sectioning, you're going to find that your concentration declines pretty significantly. In fact, I think I originally got this from a YouTube video of either a college professor or somebody giving, you know, their own study tips. This is something I've done. I've done even in college, you know, studying math. That, you know, 30-minute sections are usually pretty good. And if you find you're having trouble concentrating over 30 minutes, and you lower it to 15 or 10, whatever is good. But 30 is about the sweet spot. At least for me, and I think for a lot of people, that's just a good amount of time. Generally, I say find a space without distraction. So, you know, don't have YouTube videos or Twitch on while you're practicing. It's not really practicing. You'll find that actually you retain a lot less. It's better to use the time you have on like distraction free, even if it's, you know, as I said, 15 to 30 minutes without the distraction, than, you know, spending hours practicing with it. And that's at least my experience, but I think that's a general bit of guidance that have been given by a number of people. The third thing I think is most important is regularity, more important than total time on individual days. So it's more important, right, depending on how much time you have, to just put in the work each day. At least for me, for improvement, it's keeping to the schedule is much more important than, you know, working one day where you're able to practice, you know, 10 hours and the rest you aren't able to practice. And again, it depends on schedule. but I think regularity and having some type of schedule to your practice routine is more important than anything else. So yeah, that's me brainstorming about the practice routine. Essentially, this was almost an hour of me to say that I'm going to work about a third of my time on this type of stuff to improve this type of stuff to improve this branch of my playing, and then the rest on standards. But, you know, I think it's always important to, I guess I haven't put in here, because I talked about the resources, and maybe I should include it. Maybe I should put it in the warm-up section. Yeah, let's do that. Let's say play jazz patterns licks / what I've gotten from transcriptions. And then if this is the case, then we're going to spend most of our times using this kind of as our warm-up. So I'd say probably 80% of the time. So when you have 2 minutes, you can't really split it that well. So it's going to be 1 minute, probably 3 minutes, and then 8 minutes. Or no, what did I say? Yeah, I said I wanted to spend about 80% of the time on here. So we get the rest of the time here. So it's 1, 2, or 2 minutes. So there's the general structure of a practice routine. I mean, you can come up with your own set of tooling. But it's just a lot of talking about practice, what I think is important. I think after this, we're going to do 2 half-hour sessions of me just practicing. Yeah, so it should be pretty good. So I will be back in about 2 or so minutes, and we'll practice a little bit. What I am going to try and do first is see if I can get a stopwatch timer you can see. Let me see if I can get a new window up. Say stop. No, I don't want to stop. I just want a timer. Sure. Yeah, this works. Let's add a new window capture. Let's call this timer capture. this one, I think. Oh, boo. It only scales it? I can't. Man, really? Oh, there's got to be a better way to do this. I just don't know. A second. Let's just remove this and see. Yes. Let me see if maybe there's a better way. Maybe let's just do a screen capture, because I think that we can actually select individual parts. Let's see if maybe I can screen capture over here. Let's keep it in a general spot. Timer capture. Should get this one right. I should be able to see quite a bit. See if it'll let me do a very specific portion of it. That's annoying. Oh, it's because it's too big. Okay, I think I gotta. Okay. I gotta work on this on my own. But I feel like I will eventually be able to add a timer of some sort. But for the moment, we'll just delete this, and you'll have to take my word for me that I have a timer on screen. So starting now, let's go through and what we just worked on, but we're doing the middle section. So 5 minutes of warm up with, again, you don't have to be super stringent on this. I'm only going to time the major sections, and then just mostly by feel and depending on what I want to work on. Split this up, but we'll do about 2 minutes, and then I'll probably open up, because I already forgot one of the stupid patterns. But we'll put a timer on for 5 minutes, and we'll put a timer on for 15 minutes, doing all the chordal stuff, and then we'll start working on the standards, and I'll be timeout 10 minutes and then 30 minutes. So let's get going. I'll switch for full screen for that. So set the yield timer. Man, I wish I could get a screen grab of the timer to work. Let me see if maybe... I don't want to use that. That looks awful. Sure, let's do that. Why not? This one doesn't look too bad, even though it has ads for some reason. What if I make it full screen? I don't want to make it full screen. That is annoying. Actually, it's not a bad idea. For this, at least. Let's do window capture. Wish I could make this bigger. But yeah, that'll work. Oops. Again, I feel like there must be a better way to do this. Okay, screw this. This is dumb. This is dumb. I'll come up with a better way to do that. I'm sure, especially if I look in Streamlabs or something. There'll be some overlay. Let's just get rid of this. This is dumb. I'm wasting a lot of time. I can just be practicing. All right. I hope you enjoy that digression. I'm just going to do a Google timer. All right. 5 minutes of warm up. 5 minutes of warm up. Gotta trim the corner of my nail. Position. Alright, now we're going to switch over. Work on the licks I've been working on. Let's play that Joe Pass thing I've been working on for a while. This real quick. Let's go over to the lick that I do remember, and that's that one I do. Let me see if I can open up real quick. I don't think I have it open on this other monitor, but let me see if I can open it up. Did I not save it? I hope I saved it. Nope, it's over here. Sure I bring up the timer over here so I can see it. And the pattern is right here. In fact, let's stop and I'm going to add a minute once I get this back up on screen. This one right here. From what we did before. Let's see if it comes back to our memory that it was. And let's start the timer again. Man, I'm doing a bad job juggling all these things. Let me change it to 2. There we go. All right, 2 minutes working on this. Starting now. So, it starts on the 6th, right? So we got 1, 6, 4. Oh, that's 3. 6, 6, 1, 6. Yeah, I do remember this. Got about a minute left. That was the first section. Let's add, let's verify with the document. Was 15 minutes. 15 minutes, so we'll add 15. 15:00. All right. Chordal stuff, and the way I broke it up is by the time we have about 5 minutes, we'll switch over to improvisation mode. So, back to what I was working on before with the D minor stuff. Actually, let me go back to full screen because you don't need to see that at this point. All right. So, before stuff like this. Trying to get everything on my screen all at once. All right. What I really want to work on is this type of stuff, where it's like being able to work through all 6 strings at once for each chord. So, starting with this. I know these very well, but it's this that I'm having trouble with. work it into all these shapes. So maybe start from the top. What was it? It was... starting from the top. Top ones are easy. They're all very similar shapes, with the only difference being where the S is, like on the 6th and 7th, and the for this flat shape, right for the octave, you get a very similar thing that traces. So pretty easy to know. I mean, I know these shapes, the bottom two and the top ones, I feel like I know pretty well now, right? Because it's, oh man. form improvisation, and we're going to do the trick that I've done before, where we're going to switch over. JK, the connection's not quite right. 1 second. We are back on, baby. And by back on, I mean I didn't quite set the timer right. So, 1 second. Alright, now we're back on, and I'll hit the timer once I switch over. that was it for the improvisation. Let's since we got 10 minutes, in fact, we're gonna start the timer for the 10 minutes. Let's work through all of the stuff that's not the improvisation on what we know, and then I'll bring out, and we'll spend almost the entire block, because I think, again, going back to our thing, let's go back to Firefox and bring this back up. Said something like, it should be 40 minutes, so we're going to put the melody and the chords in here. And Autumn Leaves, I don't remember, so maybe we'll spend a little bit of that time actually working on it. So let's go back to full screen. Let me get back up monitor here. 10 minutes starting now. Alright, so let's just play through It Could Happen to You. At least the melody, and we'll play Autumn Leaves, and then we'll see where we're at. Positions already. That one I've pretty well done. Autumn Leaves. I keep messing up specifically in that part, but it's that's the movement, so it's play through the chords if it could happen to you. Let's play with the pick. Let's play with the pick because that's what we practiced. metronome real quick, and we'll do that with the metronome. And we'll do it at full speed. Whoa. Somehow changed the noise. There we go. Okay, I didn't know that was a feature on the metronome. Man, I get back to my general concentration problems. Man. 1 second, and I lost the timer. Okay. 3 minutes. Let's see if I can do two times around. Spend the rest of the time, and I think I'm gonna have to do some of this, in my own sessions afterwards. But let's look up auto leads and try and do a little bit of that before, and I can bring it down maybe 100. Just following along.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3,
4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
fine with spending slightly more time on this because again, it's something I got to learn. And I'm just gonna stop the timer now. Just going through the A section at least. It's C minor 7, F7, B flat major, E flat major, A diminished, D7, G, C minor, F7, B flat major, E flat major, A7, and then G minor. So, we've done that. We're going to spend the next half an hour doing lots of improvisation. And we'll see line building and improvisation. So, we'll see if we can maybe divide it in half. But this is what I wanted to have my breaking point be. So, I'm going to take a real quick break and be right back. Alrighty, I am back. Let's do a sandwich. So let's do play along with iReal Pro for approximately 5 minutes, however long, how many times around that's going to take us, and maybe I'll up in iReal Pro. But let's start with It Could Happen to You. And let's keep it at 120. Just so we make sure we have enough. We'll do what we've been doing before, where we play it through one time through, improvise for how many times, and this time up to 8, depending on how much time we have, and then play the melody on the way out. So let me get my timer situation set up. All right, my timer is ready to go. We hit the timer now, and then I'm gonna get my instrument ready. Huh. Oh, my pick's right here. Oh, no volume. Start over. Bum, 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 bum. verses, but that's fine. We're spending about 60-40 between them anyways. So we're going to switch over to autumn leaves and try the same thing. Maybe up it to maybe, let's do 5 times. Pretty perfectly. All right. So let's stick with autumn leaves since we haven't done much line building on it. Actually, you know what? Let's divide this. Let's just keep it even. Let's give me back my timer. Let's do 10 minutes here and 10 minutes on the other one. And we're just gonna do the usual stuff where we're just trying to work through lines, or even simpler of just maybe playing chord tones or that type of stuff. So for Autumn Leaves, we start on C minor. So we can play it where I've been playing it for It Could Happen to You. Oh, wait, sorry. We got F, which we can play here. Let's actually count it up. And one, and one, and one, and two, and three, and four, and one, and two, and what was it after this? B flat. A minor. It should be D7. And then G. B flat first. Through manually. So C minor, F7, F major, or F dominant 7. So C minor, F7, B flat major, E flat major. Well, I'll play the A third. A diminished. D7, and then G minor. So we can play that in time a little bit. Yeah, hundreds and hundreds. We're just playing chord tones. C minor. Man, I've already lost. It's F7 after. 1, 2, 3, 4. C minor. F7. B flat. E flat. A. And let's try again. After that, it's A. C minor. F7. C minor, F7, B flat, E flat, A minor, A minor, D. Yeah. It's just walking up, so it's just this, right?
Four, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1,
Oh,
2,
itch on
4,
this side.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So A minor.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2,
Okay, see if we can get up to that point. C, F, B flat, B flat, A, finish. Almost got it. C, F7, B flat, B flat, that was close. C minor, F, B flat, almost. I really just gotta hit that G minor and be confident in it. C minor, F7, B flat, B flat, A, no, it's E flat major. One more time. Oops. C minor, F7, B flat, E flat, A diminished, C minor, F7, B flat, it's A flat, sorry, it's B flat major 7. Alright, let's try it again. Make sure we don't mess it up. C minor, F7, B flat major 7, B flat, C minor, F7, B flat major, E flat major, A flat diminished, D7, you can, maybe, you should probably play it as a true G minor 7. But this doesn't sound too bad because it's, right, that did this. So we got a minute 20. Let's try it one more time. C minor, F, B flat major, E flat major, A diminished, D7. Oh, G minor, C minor, F7, B flat major, E flat major, A diminished, D7, G minor 7, C minor, F7, B flat, essentially all the autumn leaves time that are broken up. I feel like we made some progress there. And then we're going to do a very similar thing for It Could Happen to You. All right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And again, just keeping it simple. We're just playing the chord tones. Help get us in our ears. Just, make sure our hands are at least are in the right position at the same time. Right? So, E flat. Okay, it's E flat, C7, F minor, a 1, 2, 3, 4, E flat, C7, F7, let's try again. E flat, C, F, D, E, A, C7, F7, C minor, C7, I feel like it got slightly off the step, and that was the closest I've been a little bit to actually hitting a full chorus of the chord tone. So a 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. I followed the entire progression at least that time. It sounded very much like It Could Happen to You, so I'm pretty proud. Well, not necessarily proud, like I should be able to do this stuff, but I thought that was good practice.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1.
Um, let's try and do the exercise I did before, where it's like, let's do half note under. Let's start with the root. Let's just make it really easy. Right, so. I already messed that up. F. 2. A flat. F minor again. G. C minor. Flat again. I messed up a little bit there. E flat. Yeah. Let's try doing scale tone above. Let's start with. Let's just do the third since it's the most natural. What am I doing? It goes to E flat. I'm already messing up. So E flat. Let's start over. E flat. C. F minor. Messed up a little bit. Okay, I'm a little bit lost. Let's do. Let's just even just go through scales. So, flat. C. F minor. Oops. D. technically out of time, but let's just play one of the things I know how to play. Let's just as kind of a warm down. Let's just improvise on Blue Bossa, right? A few times through, and we'll call it a night. I'm just gonna skip to the improvisation. I think we're gonna call it there. Man, that was went long. Did a lot of conceptual stuff, but yeah. Anyways, if it isn't me who is the additional viewer, thank you for watching. I think it's me because I've had 2 viewers since the start, and I'm sure once I stop, it'll of course go to 0. But anyways, if it wasn't me, thank you for watching. Probably was me though. But have a good night. Probably see you soon.